Good evening, everyone. This is BremSter, and tonight I'm coming to you with a puzzle called Frog in the Pot by ZegreS. Before I get onto the puzzle, I want to make a full disclosure here. This is not a fully blind solve. I had been recording this puzzle and I'd gotten about 15-20 minutes into it when I realized my microphone wasn't plugged in correctly and I had been recording no audio. And as you might tell, it's a really boring video if you can't hear anything. So, yeah, that was not a video I wanted to release, and I didn't want to just try and dub my own voice when I had no idea what I said. So it was a re-record time because a technical failure on my part is not a good enough reason for a puzzle not to come out. Before I get on to the puzzle, I do want to say you may not be aware I have two YouTube channels. There's BremSter Puzzles. Hi, welcome. Please like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. But I also have a channel called BremSter Games where I used to do some tabletop role playing. I do want to get back to that at some point. I'm doing some preparation for that at the moment, but I'm not rushing myself. And I do a lot of video gaming. And the reason I'm calling that out at the moment and saying, please come join me, maybe subscribe, trying to get my subscribers up and get some extra features on the channel. But where I do a lot of video game streaming over there. And the reason it would be nice I thought I would say it is September is going to be a month where I try a lot of new stuff. The Diablo 3 season, yes, the 11-year-old game, maybe 12, is starting this week, and I will be doing that, including playing through the entire Diablo 3 story. Not the way to start a season, but I'm going to be doing it that way anyway because I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing this to compete with anyone. And there's a new expansion coming out for Cyberpunk 2077 at the end of the month, and I will be starting a new character on that. I really love my Cyberpunk 2077 stream with my first character, but it is a game that I am absolutely going to replay, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 is very much a mature game, not family friendly. So if you go over there, please be prepared for stuff that's a little bit less a lot less family friendly over there. But other games that I've played over there, I've played a lot of really nice puzzle games. Portal 2, I think, is one of the best puzzle games ever made. And I occasionally play stuff like No Man's Sky, which I think is really cool as well. And I've done some other stuff over there as well. So please come check out BremSter Games. But let's have a look at Frog in the Pot, which is not a completely blind solve. I'm sorry about that. So there'll be some deductions that I did find and was really, really happy with. And then there were some bits where I got a bit stuck and there was some delay. So this is probably going to be a shorter video than it would have been if I was putting it all through. So that first 25 minutes, I'm probably going to do it about 10 to 15. We'll see how we go. So what are the rules? Normal Sudoku rules apply. So in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. And then arrow rule. So digits placed on an arrow, the sum of those will get placed into the arrow's circle. So what that means is the sum of these two cells will get placed here, and the sum of these two cells will get placed here. The sum of these two cells will get placed here, which means these two will sum to the same as these two, same as these two, but normal arrow rules. I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. Now, this arrow is obviously the most basic place to start, but I'm actually going to start with explaining some fundamentals for people who may not have seen this before. The minimum digit you can put on 3 arrow cells that see each other like this is 1, 2, and 3, which sum to 6. So an arrow cell like this has to be 6, 7, 8, or 9 because you can't put a digit higher than 9. This one's the same, this one is the same, and this one are the same. So these are all 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now, again, this is the most powerful arrow, but I want to now talk about column 1 a little bit, because these cells here all see each other as well. And those cells have a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which sum to 15. So if I was to put a 5 here, this would have to be a 10. So this is also 6, 7, 8, 9. Now let's talk about this one. The minimum I can put into these is 1, 2, and 3. The minimum I can put into these, because they're in the same row, is 1 and 2. This is where most people, I am assuming, are going to start. And these are 6, these are 3. If you add 6 and 3, this is a 9. This is absolutely where the first break in. Now you can ask, where does 9 go in box 5? 9 can't go here, and it can't go on an arrow. So this is now a 9. But the other question you can ask yourself is what goes on this arrow? I can't use 1, 2, 3, so all I have left is 4, 5, which makes this a 9, and these become 6, 7, and 8. Now, these being 6, 7, and 8 means the maximum I can put into these is 3. So these are 1, 2, and 3, because if I did 4, it'd be 4 plus minimum 6, and this would have to be a 10. So these are 1, 2, and 3. Now, these cells I found quite interesting because these are a minimum of 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are a maximum of 5 because if they were above 5, what would these be? Because if this was a 6, the minimum again would be 6, 4. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quintuple in the row. So these cells here are 6, 7, and 8. And I thought that was quite interesting. I'm going to have a drink. Now, the next deduction I found, and it took me a couple of minutes, was to think about these cells here. Because if you think about those cells, these two cells all see each other. Now, whichever one of these is a 1 is going to force a 2, 3, 4. And that's what caused me to think about it. If this was a 1, this would be a 2, 3, 4, because 2, 3, 4 would then be the minimum I could put on an arrow, which would sum to 9. Whichever one of these is a 2 is going to cause some weird issues on the other side, because wherever there's a 1, this is going to be 2, 3, 4, and 9. Wherever there's a 2, I'm not going to have a 2 available on the other side. So we know where the 1 is, it's going to be a 9. And wherever the 2 is, I'm not going to have a 2 for the arrow. So I can never put a 6 or a 7 in either of these because where I put the 2 on an arrow, where I put a 2 on an arrow, it's 9. So I can never use a 2 on an arrow that doesn't sum to 9. Now, the other thing was these cells here, they have a minimum sum of 20. Because these could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and these could be 1, 2, 3, 4. And this also gets me to the same deduction. This was how I kind of did it when I was exploring it, and then I found a more elegant way of explaining it, which was the way I just did. Because these have a minimum sum of 20, being 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 1, 2, 3, 4 here, if I take away the 3 that I know is here, then the minimum these could be is 17. And if this was 6 or 7, the other side would have to be 10 or 11, and that doesn't work. So I get back to 8 or 9. But it does mean that the maximum that these could be, if these are both 9, would be 18 in those, plus another 3 is 21. So these sum to either 20 or 21, which means there must be in these summing to either, there will be repeat digits, but it means that on those arrows, try to think how to explain it again. There must be one in these cells. There must be 1, 2, 3. Now, if these total, remember, this is all of these cells summing to either 20 or 21. If it's 20, they're all 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I increase one of these digits by 1, then one of these could go up to 5. But they can't be here, of course. This is a 1, 2 pair. One of these could potentially be a 5 if I go up. But it does mean what is most important is 1, 2, and 3 must be on these arrows. One of them is going to be 2, 3, 4, and the other one is going to be 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5, possibly. 1, 3, 4 or 1, 3, 5. It's going to have a 4 or a 5 on it. A little bit tricky, the math here. But the important thing to remember is these yellow cells are going to sum to 20 or 21. Now the interesting thing I had was this row, because the maximum I can put onto an arrow is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to put this into all of these, because I can never use a 6, because a 6 would be with 1, 2, and that doesn't work for the 9. So these can't sum to 15 anymore, because for this to sum to 15, it has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would mean that cell has no fill. So neither of these can be 6, because 6 could only go with 9 to get to 15. Now, the question I want to ask is what happens if this cell is an 8? Now, if this cell is an 8, I have a 1 on this arrow. But if this cell is a 9, then I can't put a 9 in either of those, but I can't make this 15. So both of these would be 8. And if both of these are 8, these have to sum to 16. So those blue cells would have to sum to 16. And the only way to do 16 is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, which would mean this is a 5. Remember, I started this with being a 9. If this is a 5, though, I need to put 4 in here, which is a 1, 3. So if this is a 9, there is a 1 in those two cells, but if this is an 8, there's a 1 in those 3 cells. So that cell can never be a 1. That is always the 2, this is the 1, and these are the 2, 3, 4, making that a 9. That's the deduction I basically got up to when I realized that my microphone is off. And that deduction took me a while. And after that, I'm a little bit stuck. So we know there's a 1 and a 3 on this with either 4 or 5, depending on whether this is 8 or 9. And we're kind of done with the colouring now, because whether this is 8 or 9 is going to resolve that whole arrow. Now, I was going to start looking at 1 and 2 in here, because I think there has to be a 1 or a 2 on this arrow. Well, I know there's a 9 in one of those two, but I think there has to be a 1 or a 2 on this arrow, because if there's not, I can't use 4, 5, so the minimum would be 3, 6, and that would be a 9, which doesn't work. So there has to be a 1 or a 2. Can I put a 1 or a 2 here? If this is a 1, that would be a 1. Oh, this can't be a 1, because down here, this sums to 16. Or no, hang on, it can't sum to 15. But it's 16, 17. This is 16 or 17. Now, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is 20, isn't it? 4 and 6, 2, 3, 5 is 20. So this must have a 1 on it. So this is not the 1, and there is a 1 down here. Now, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 is 18. So if both of these are 9, this could be 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and this could be a 3. There's no 2 here, so there is a 2 in here. But what I was wondering is, could I put a 1 or a 2 here? I can't put a 2 here, but I could put a 1 here. I know 2 is up here somewhere. Oh, this isn't a 9 because of that 9. So there is a 1 on this arrow. Now, if this is 1, 2, 4, this would be 3, 5, 8 maybe, or 3, 6, 9. This couldn't be 5 then. So this would be a 3. If this is 1, 2, 4, this is 3, but that does leave me with options. And if this is 8 or 9, I've got more freedom. Can this be 2, 3, 4? This would be then 1, 6, or even 1, 7, or 1, 8. Hang on, can I put an 8 here? Because these sum to a maximum of 18. Actually, these could be 2, 3, 4, 1, 8. That's 18. Because these would be summing to 10. Ah, yeah, that works. That cell, if this is an 8, this can't be 8. But if this is a 9, these wouldn't have a 9 in them, and they can't sum to 15, so they both have to be 8s. So if this is a 9, both of those are 8s. So if this is a 9, this is an 8, but if this is an 8, Yeah, so there's an 8 in one of those two cells. So this is not an 8. There is an 8 in one of those two. And if this is, and there's an 8, is this an 8-9 pair now? Because if this is a not, this is never 7. If this is a 9, so if this is an 8, this is never 7. If this is an 8, then this is a 9 because of Sudoku. But if this is 9, in order to get this above 15, these are both 8s. This is never 7. This is an 8-9 pair. So this is now a maximum of 7. So this is 5, 6, or 7 because it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 8, 9. So this can't be 7 or 8. So this has a maximum now of 3. Because 3, 4, if this was 4, the minimum would be 8. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this can't be 1, 2, or 3. And if this isn't 1, 2, 3, this can't be 6, 7, or 8. This is a 4, 5 pair, which means this is the 3. There's no 3 here. This is the 9. This is 8, which means this is not 5. This is 1, 4. This 8 looks down, taking 8 out of there. And I now have this as the 8, 9. That's cool. What are these now? There must be a 1 on it because, well, there's no 4 on it. So this is 9, because if it was 7, it'd be 1, 2, 4, and I can't do that. Now, what are the minimum I can put on here? The minimum I can put on here is 1, 2, 6, which sums to 9. So this is 1, 2, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are 7 and 8, these two cells here. And the 8 makes that the 7 and that the 8. That takes 8 out of both of those, making that the 8, meaning that's not the 8. Okay, what comes next? Well, 3 comes out of those. So this is a 2, 4 pair, and that's the 3. The 2, 4 looks back, making that 1 and that 4. So 1 is up here with the 2. Oh, as is 3. 1, 2, that's a 1, 2, 3 triple because 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That has to be the 1, 2, 3. What are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Oh, this 2 means that's not 2. That not being 2 means that's not 7. Not 7, so that's 6 and 3, which means that's 7 and 2, which means this is 1. This is cool. That's not done anything extra, though. 3 is in one of those two. Actually, 5 is also looking down. This is a 3, 5 pair. So what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 7, and 8. So I know what these are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and 9. And there's a 1, 2, 3. So that's a 9 and that's a 1. These are 2, 6, and 7. And there's a 6, 7 here. That is the 2. This is a 6, 7. This is cool. This 1 is looking down. This is the 1. This can't be a 7 anymore because if this is 7, this is 1, 2, 4, and that would break that cell. That's not a 7. Okay. Where is 8 in column 5? Can't put 8 there. Can't put 8 there because that'd be 9, which is broken. Can't put 8 there because it sees an 8. Can't put 8 in any of those. Can't put 8 there. Can't put 8 there because that'd have to be 1 something to 9, and I can't do that for many reasons. That's the 8. which means this is a 1, 2, 3 because I need to put a third 1, 2, 3 in this column. So this is 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. Can't put 1, 2, 3 in either of those. This is the third 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. This is a 6, 7 pair. Which is cool but unresolved. But this can't be a 3 anymore. Because if this is a 3, 6, 3 is 9. That's not a 3. But this is now 7 or 8. Oh, so it's 8. Because it can't be a 7 because the 7 is here. So what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are 4 and 5. This is not 5. Which means this isn't 4 because 1 plus... Right, this isn't 4. That's the 6, 7 pair. 8 is in one of those two. And I'm probably about 10 minutes ahead of where I should be because of the break-in that I knew a lot faster. Now this is under some pressure. This could be 1, 2. So this could be as low as 3, 4, 5, or 7. That's not helping much. This isn't 1. Can this be 2, 3? Don't see why not. That would be 4. Yeah, I don't see why not. 9 is in one of... Oh, 9 is right there. Because 9 by Sudoku is here. I can't put 9 in this column. And 9 sees that one. So 9 in this column is not here or here. And it's not in on the arrow. So this is a 9. And that's all the 9s in the grid. Eight is in one of those two. No. 7 is in one of those. That's a 7. I can't put 7 on this arrow. Why is that not a 7? Because I can't do 1, 2, 4. I can't put 7 on this arrow because 1 plus 7, this would have to be at least 10. So 7 is in one of those cells, and I can't put... Where is 7 in this column? So 7 in this column is in one of those. That's a 2 or a 4. So it's in one of those two, but that 7 C's there. That's a 7, that's a 6. And there was a cooler thing here. I just saw it as I was putting this in. If this is 1, 5, this is 6. And if this is 1, 6, this is 7. One of those had to be 6, which means that that's an 8. So that's a 7, that's a 6, which forces that to be an 8. And there's a couple of different ways you could have seen that. Now these sum to 7. So they're 2, 5, or 3, 4. This is an 8. So this is 3 or 5, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's not 3. It's not 4. It's not 2. This is a 5. So 5 comes out of here, which means 2 comes out of here. This is 3, 4, which means this is 2 and this is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6, which means this is 7. This is 1. There's no 1 in any of those. This is the 6. The 5 makes this 6 and this 5. The 1 comes out of both of those. This can't be a 3 anymore because I can't put, or a 4 because I can't put 1 in either of those. 3 would need to be 1, 2, and I can't do it. 4 would need to be 1, 3, and I can't do it. So there's no 3 or 4. So what can this be? If this is 5, it's 2, 3, which seems okay. If this is 7, I can't use 1, 6. I could use 2, 5. I could use 3, 4. So this is 2, 5, 3, 4. So where is 6 in this row? It's not there, it's not there, it's not there. It's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there. This is the 6. This is a 1, 2. Oh, this 6 makes this 7, which makes this 6, which makes this 7. These are 4, 5, and 8 to complete the row. That's not 4, that's not 8. So that's a 4, 5 pair. This is the 8. What are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 3, 4 looking down. That's the 5, that's the 4, that's the 3. So what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a 5, 7 pair. So this is the 4. There's no 5 here. Well, this 4 makes this 3 and this 4. But there's no 3 or 4 here. This is a 2. Which means this is a 3 and this is a 5 and this is a 7 and this is a 5. The 5 looks back making this 3 and this 5. There's no 4 in either of those. This 8 makes this 7 and this 8. This 5 makes this 4 and this 5. The 2 looks up taking 2 out of there, but more importantly, out of there, that's 3, that's 1. There's no 1 here. This is the 2, this is the 3, this is the 2. This 5 looks up making this 4 and this 5. This 4 looks across making this 5 and this 4. This column, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And I'll use that 4 to make that 6 and that 4. The 6 looks back making that 2 and that 6. The 2 looks across making this 1 and this 2. I need to put a 1 in this box. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. This better be a 7. And that's the solution to Frog in the Pot by ZegreS. 318 solves in 22 days. Now, as I said, I did get a bit of a lead in on, I'd solved this puzzle, the start of this puzzle before with the math on this. But the trick in this row, finding the 8, 9 pair, and therefore I think it was then something here, and I got a 4, 5 pair here, that was new. But I had figured out the math to force this, and also to figure out that this had to be the 2. I had already done that on camera where you couldn't hear me. And listening to a video is a bit boring. So, yeah, I had to re-record that, and I'm sorry about that. But a very cool puzzle. And, you know, you can see the frog. Don't know what I'm going to do on the thumbnail on this one, but we'll figure that one out. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the puzzle, and I hope that you didn't use the duration as the difficulty estimate. I hope you listened a little bit into the video to get an idea that this wasn't a fully blind solve, and went from there. Thanks everyone, and as always, good luck with your solving.